Now we get into the sort of form of animation that you can start working with. So you can animate everything here on the set, but let's start with keyframe animation is the process of animating something from point A to point B, and the keyframes are the moments in the timeline that signify movement or change. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to animate the camera. So I'm going to select the camera, and we're going to go up to the timeline, and we're going to start recording, and then everything goes red, so you know it's recording, and we're going to make sure it's on keyframe animation. So right now we've got the camera in this position. I'm just going to get it to where I need it to be. So I'm just going to move it up there. Now one of the things that is quite fun is that you can actually enable this monitor here, which you're all seeing through my headset, on the main screen so that you can have someone watch as you animate, but they can really only see what's going on through the camera. So that's good for a client monitor, so to speak. So I'm just going to get the camera, the camera where I want, and it's set a keyframe. So if you scroll back to the start, which I didn't do before, you see that there's this little dot there, which is a keyframe. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll forward in time, and then I'm going to animate a keyframe. So now you've got two keyframes. If I scroll back to the start and I hit either the play button on my hand right there or this one here, you'll see the camera animates. You can also give it a bit of a curve, just like you do in Illustrator, and it will give us a nice round curve. And then if you want to, thank you very much for that, I encourage woos because I am basically blind in this circumstance. So any woos you can throw at me, thank you very much. I can hit tween and I can have it be a curve tween, which is automatically on, or I can have it animate in a linear tween, and then that'll give you a different style of movement where it eases in or eases out of the animation. You can see it's kind of slowly easing into that last position, which is what cameras tend to do because they're moved by people. And you've got this default car which has some nice lights on it, and we're going to start with the keyframe animation. We've still got record on, and we're going to select the car, make sure we kind of want the car to start here, animate to where the end position is, which is about there. We're going to move, grab it, move it, and then we're going to watch it. And now you've got an animated car and a slowly animated camera. Woo? Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I am needy. I do need applause. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tween it. I'm going to make sure that it's got a nice linear curve, and then I'm going to move the car. I can move the car to get the car to move faster by moving those keyframes closer together. So that works very similar to how Premiere, After Effects, really any animation that's got those sort of features. We can take the little mannequin and we move him closer to here, and I feel like I've watched Forrest Gump a few more times than I should have. And I'm going to put him there. I'm going to grab the hands. I'm going to scale it up, grab his hands and put his hands on his legs, grab his head, put him there. And now we're sitting on the bench. So now we've seen keyframe animation. Now keyframe animation is good for lots of things. It's good for things that are mechanical, robotic. It's good for things that don't have organic movement. I'm going to zoom up and put myself in more or less his position, somewhere where I feel like I can stand naturally. Now scroll back to the start and hit recording, and then go to real-time animation. Now real-time animation means that as I move, I'm going to move my monitor up there, I'm going to make it bigger, stick it up there, so it's very much like stop motion or puppeteering in the way that you can see the monitor and act that. I can see the camera moving, and I'm going to grab his hands, and as soon as I grab his hands, it's going to start recording. So I'm going to grab his hands and wave, and then stop. And now, when I go back to the start, and what you can see here is that animation. Cool, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Now let's say, now we've done that, let's say we want to make his legs animate as well. So we're going to go back to the start, we're going to hit recording, we're going to grab his legs. Dislocated his legs a little bit then. Go back to the start. grab his legs, and then I'm going to start recording them, moving them. Now this is obviously subtle animation, but if you're trying to sell this into, say you're going for funding and you want to sell in the idea of a scene to someone, you want to tell this idea to your visual effects team and say, well, this is exactly how his legs are moving. You can do this in a matter of minutes or seconds, depending on how fast you are at the scene. So now you've got a little scene. Of course, if you're good enough to be able to use Maya or something like that, Blender, which is a free program, you're able to build the assets in that program and bring them into Tvori, animate them quickly with your hands and export it back out as a file that will work in both those mediums.